Yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Diesel Dog video. Another coffee talk. Cheers, folks. Thought I'd shed a little knowledge on some of you youngsters getting out in the field. One great thing about this channel growing is I get a lot of questions from a lot of you younger guys that are interested in getting out and working on diesels or even automotive. If you're new to the channel, I started out in automotive in 2007. In 2015, I switched over to medium heavy duty repair. I mainly work on semi trucks, tractor trailers, and a lot of pickup trucks still, diesel pickup trucks, F-250s on up to F-750s, and really haven't looked back much at automotive since switching to diesels. I love it, and I love that I'm getting a lot of you youngsters that have questions and are interested in getting out in the field. I try to answer everyone's questions truthfully and honestly, per my experience. A lot of opinionated questions I don't really like answering, but I will give you my opinion. I like working on diesels more than automotive. A lot of guys won't like working on diesels more than automotive. It's kind of an opinion thing. So if you ask me which is better, automotive or diesel, I will say, in my opinion, working on diesels is better than automotive. It's not for everyone. Automotive was great. I do still like working on cars every once in a while, other than a Mini Cooper with a thermostat housing and the old pipe back under the intake breaks off. You know what I'm saying? Just had one of those, but working on diesels can be just as equally as a pain now with all the emission stuff, but it's work. So gotta have work to get paid, you know what I'm saying? Anywho, so if I was gonna shed any life experience with you guys, this would be 5 tips I would give new techs starting out in the field per my experience. So buckle in, boys and girls, about to shed some wisdom on y'all. My absolute #1 piece of advice I would give new techs, and you're not gonna wanna hear this, but take care of your body. Stop lifting heavy crap. You're gonna be in this for the long haul. You're gonna need your body. Knowing how to do the work is 50% of the job. The other 50% is being physically able to do that job. If you're worn out and tired by the time you're 40, then what are you gonna do for the other 25 years? You gotta work on heavy trucks. Unfortunately, I have seen a lot of guys that are pretty well worn out by the time they're 40, and it's unfortunate. I have done some dumb stuff in my younger years, in my 20s, lifting stuff I probably shouldn't have lifted, crashing on stuff, going down hills that I probably shouldn't have crashed on, and I'm paying for it now. I'm 33 years old. I'm already dealing with a back pain, a bad shoulder, definitely a bad right knee, and the left one's not far behind. But now I'm paying for it. Now I'm looking into the future, and anytime I can utilize some shop equipment or another hand from a guy to help make my job easier, put less wear and tear on my body, then I'm gonna take full advantage. You've only got so many clutches in your life you can lift up. Eventually, you're not gonna be able to do it. Might as well have that time be when you're 66, because you're gonna retire at 65, hopefully. Probably not us. Probably not you youngsters. We're never gonna retire. That's for another debate. I promise you, at no point in your life will you walk into a store and everyone's gonna be like, oh my God, are you that guy that lifted that leaf spring up on that truck all by himself 20 years ago? Nobody cares. Nobody's gonna care if you lifted that thing. So you might as well do what you can. Get a cherry picker and a chain or something if you can, or an extra hand. Just take care of your body, please. #2, you gotta be willing to work. If you're getting in this field, you've got to be willing to work. And I'm not saying show up for your job, because that's what you went to school for and you got the job and now you're just there. You're a body physically there. You've gotta be willing to go the extra mile starting out. I promise you that's gonna get you further ahead than whatever you went to school or what you think you know. Being willing to put in the hard hours, the long hours, extra schooling, whatever your shop wants to send you to, if you're willing to do that, then you're gonna move up pretty quick. And the point is to move up. The more you move up, the more you get paid. The more you get paid, the happier you are in your career. I will let you know, you youngsters starting out, millennials, get into a shop with some guys that are pretty seasoned already, they're expecting you to be lazy. They already have it in your head that you're lazy. You're a young guy, you're from the millennial generation, you gotta be lazy. Stay off your phone, don't be watching movies, don't be jamming out all day on your phone, looking at YouTube videos or whatever. Get in, do the work, show them you're willing to work, show them you're willing to put in the overtime or go to any training you need, or yes sir, this sir. Don't be spouting off at the old guys that have been around for a while, because the shop is gonna choose them over you any day. It doesn't matter where you went to school, what you think you know. You gotta be willing to work. And if you show everyone, your boss, even your coworkers, that you're willing to work, that you're not spouting off, and you treat them with respect, then they're gonna start treating you with respect back. I promise you. They'll be willing to answer questions for you. They'll be willing to help you out, as long as you're not going in arrogant and lazy. Number 3, don't be afraid to figure things out on your own. I kind of coined this phrase, and you guys have probably heard me say it on the channel a few times if you've been around, that just because you've never done something before doesn't mean you don't know how to do it. It's all a matter of just figuring it out. That was one thing I always took pride in starting out was, it was actually a conversation me and my old boss, who became a great mentor to me starting out. He asked, do you like to figure things out on your own, or would you rather me step in and help you? I said, no, I'd rather just try to figure out on my own first, and if I got questions, I'll ask questions. Okay. Now, were there some things I probably should have asked questions, like to a certain point? Yes, everyone's making mistakes. Starting out, that's fine, but I think you should at least attempt to figure things out on your own before you get used to going to ask questions every time you get stumped. Double check things, triple check things, go back over your work. That way when you do go ask either the lead tech or your boss or whoever, like, look, I did this, I did that, I double checked this wire is good, that wire is good, I'm stumped now, do you have anywhere I can go from here? I'm not sure where to go. If you've already gone through and you've done everything you can and you're stumped, then they're probably gonna step in and help you, no problem. But if you're just, I don't know, can you do it for me? No, you're not gonna stick around much longer. Every problem's got a solution. Just remember, because you never done it before, doesn't mean you don't know how to do it. Number 4, respect the process. Yes, there is a process to this career. You start in the bottom and you work your way up. You gotta respect that, or you're not gonna make it. You will start out doing oil changes, most likely. There is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean everyone thinks you're stupid. It means that you're young and you're starting out, and you need to start out doing oil changes. There is a huge benefit to starting out doing preventative maintenance service, especially on these diesel trucks. It gets you bumper to bumper experience what to look for on everything you do. You may not already know how to look for broken brake chamber springs, or you may not know what a bad slack adjuster consists of. You may not know to look for loose S-cams when you're doing brake adjustments or brake checks, or you may not know to look for cracking. That's experience that the employer is gonna want you to have before you get moving on the bigger stuff. They're gonna start you out doing the PMs, see what you can do. If you don't complain, you show you're willing to learn, admit mistakes. Nope, I missed that brake chamber. Could you show me how to properly look for that? They're gonna rather you admit that you don't know how to do something starting out rather than going in, well, I went to this school, so I know how to do everything. Okay, well, you just missed a brake chamber. Why is that? You said you know how to do everything. Didn't they teach you that in school? You're gonna, if you give them resistance, you're gonna be met with resistance. If you give them a little slack and let them go through the process of trying you out, figuring you out, seeing what you're good at, seeing what you know, they're not gonna take your word for it right out of the bat. They don't know what you did in school. They can see on paper, yeah, you went to this school, but they don't know you. They're not affiliated with the school. They're gonna wanna put you in the PM category until they can see what you can do. Now, going back to being willing to work. Don't complain that you gotta do the oil changes, or you'll never probably move up. I mean, eventually there will be a point if you feel like you've got enough experience and they're still not moving you up, then that's a conversation you gotta have with your employer. Look, I mean, don't be rude about it. Let's say, look, I've been doing this for however long. Is there any way I could start getting a little more experience doing the other stuff? And maybe they will, maybe they won't. Most places are pretty cool though. If you're a good hard worker and you're doing good and you're learning, then they're gonna start putting you on other stuff, because shops don't make money on PMs. unfortunately, unless you sell work. Now, if you start finding stuff on PMs and selling some work, maybe they'll start letting you do some of that work. Every shop's different. Every shop's got different bosses and employees. And from what I've seen from friends that worked in other shops and from the shops I've worked at, you really just got to be willing to put in the work. You got to respect the process, starting from the bottom, working your way up. It's not just techs. You start any trade, you start from the bottom, work your way up. You go to college, you get a job right out of college. You're still starting from the bottom and working your way up. So guys, please just respect the process. I can start to feel my face get more red every sip I take of this black coffee. So my number 5 tip, learn from your mistakes. Sounds cliche, right? It kind of is, but this is one job where learning from your mistakes is a huge aspect. And I'm not even talking to the guys that are just starting out. I mean, your whole career, you're going to be making mistakes. This job is hard. They should be calling it practicing technicians. If a doctor can say they're practicing because they never stop learning about the human anatomy or whatever, then technicians, mechanics should be able to say they're practicing, because everything's constantly changing, constantly evolving. You're not going to see the same vehicle in the same month. Everything's going to be different unless you're working at a dealership and you are seeing the same stuff every day, I guess, and you're doing warranty stuff, then yeah, that's that. But as far as like 5 years from now, I'm going to be seeing completely different stuff than I'm seeing now probably. It's just constantly evolving. You're constantly going to be making mistakes, and it's easy to get discouraged about it starting out as a young tech. I know there's some mistakes I made starting out in my career where it made me second guess whether I was even doing the right thing. Like, am I cut out to really do this? Like, that's a big mistake. Why did I do that? But you're just got to hunker down and learn from that mistake. There are some things you only do once. Remember that. If you mess up big enough, you're only going to do it once. You're going to remember that the next time it comes in, you're going to be making absolutely sure you don't do that again. So just remember, everyone is making mistakes. The 60-year-old guy that's been doing this for years and years is going to be making a mistake. There's sometimes I don't really mess up for a long time. I don't have any comebacks, and I'm just cruising. I'm like feeling like freaking ace tech, man. I'm knocking work out, and then bam! There'll be some electrical diag that I spent 8 hours on. I still don't know what the hell's going on. It's humbling. It is humbling. So that pretty much wraps up my tech tips for you young techs starting out. I hope this helps some of you guys. I mean, just like I said, take care of your body. Be willing to work. Don't be afraid to figure things out on your own. Enjoy the process and learn from your mistakes. My 5 tips for success. And drink a lot of black coffee.